It's common in air quotes, infused with the scent of potpourri. Films we commit to memory. Crossing the felt ropes, watching from home on my TV, looking at all my eyes can see. They tell me I view obsessively.
Hello and welcome to The Obsessive Viewer, a weekly podcast reviewing 2 new or recent release titles every episode with an occasional free-for-all segment at the end that we call Potpourri. I'm your host, Matt Hurt, and you can find more of my work, including my written reviews, full episode show notes, and the complete backlog of our episodes and spinoff podcasts at obsessiveviewer.com. You can also follow me on Letterboxd and other social media platforms at the username of Obsessive Viewer. And if you'd like to support us and get access to hundreds and hundreds of exclusive episodes, B-roll recordings, early access to episodes, all of that, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. Recently on Patreon, I finished reviewing The Mercy of Gods from James S.A. Corey, the book that came out last year, 2 years ago, and is part 1 of the Captives War trilogy. And I just started a review series on Nemesis Games, which is book 5 of The Expanse by James S.A. Corey. And I'm also reviewing episode by episode the TV series Fallout. So that's what's been happening recently. I also have a lot of Batman content and immediate reaction recordings. So check that out at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer for all that and a bunch more content. And if you want to support me without messing around with Patreon, you can always buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/obsessiveviewer. So later in the show, we're going to be reviewing the new A24 horror film Undertone in this week's secondary review. But before that, we're going to go over some movie news and maybe some Indianapolis screenings before reviewing Radio Silence's sequel, Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, in this week's feature review. And joining me this week is my friend and IFJ colleague whose work can be found at awakeinthedark.com, and he can be followed on Letterboxd at the handle of Awake in the Dark. It's Brent Leuthold. Hello, Brent. How's it going this evening?
It's going great. Thanks for having me back.
Of course. Thank you for joining me for this episode. I'm excited to get back into the flow of things because I've been kind of just taking a little bit of a break here and there. So there's a lot of movies that I've missed reviewing this year so far, and it's only almost April. So I need to get back into the swing of things. But you are still reviewing like crazy over at awakeinthedark.com. Recently, you reviewed Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, Project Hail Mary, and you contributed an essay for The Thing for Midwest Film Journal's Kurt Russell retrospective series called Kurt Response. So, can you tell us about what you've had going on, save for the Ready or Not 2 stuff?
Yeah. Project Hail Mary, I know we saw a few weeks ago, earlier this month. So Amazon, MGM, whatever, was nice to do a pretty early screening of that. And it's funny. I've been seeing a lot of, like, of course, reviews and people like actually seeing the movie. And pretty positive, inevitable online backlash too, which, it's inevitable. And in some ways it's like kind of a sign. It's like, people are talking about you, even if it's bad, it's like, still.
There was a backlash for Hail Mary?
Not really backlash, but I mean, people were like saying, "Oh, it's not that great,"
Oh,
I think and I think that really only comes from, again, like, because I think they rolled it out over several weeks to critics and that sort of thing, that people see that stuff and then they read it as like, oh, this is like, best movie of the year or whatever. And then so if they're like disappointed, then it's like, oh, it's not that good.
Right.
So it's in a sense, it's almost, I mean, it's kind of manufactured hype and then the necessary manufactured, it's not really backlash, but just sort of
back and
it's rise and
forth.
fall. Yeah, symbiosis or yin yang, whatever you want to call it. Yeah,
The
the
eternal
natural
struggle.
state of things on the internet. Yeah,
Yeah, the eternal struggle between audiences and critics.
Yeah, right. Yeah, critics
Yeah.
who don't know anything and
Yeah.
who sit in our ivory towers and
Yes.
yeah,
It was
even
nice.
though
Did your check clear from the
yeah,
screening?
yeah. No, not only my check not clear, but Amazon decided to raise the ad free to $5 on my
Oh,
on my
that's
plan.
right.
So quite the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
what I said. I said, don't even have to cut me a check for, giving you a great
Mhm.
rating for Project Hail Mary. Just would love ad-free
Yeah.
Prime. And
Oh,
they didn't do
yeah.
that. And then
Oh.
they just raised it. So
Yeah. Well, dang.
Yeah.
That's something. This is a tangent, but that's something that I like keep. Like we've talked about it ad nauseum and everything, but just the whole thing of like, oh, critics are paid to do this. It's like, well, I mean, are critics still paid to do it? Like, it's not. That's not like the disparity between the reality of like people critiquing movies and the perception of audiences viewing those critiques as, I don't know, uh, something untoward in the film industry is really something that doesn't keep me up at night, but it is something that kind of bothers me a little bit.
yeah, I mean, it's just like
Yeah.
you need to look at what's happening. I mean, if people who feel that way, it's like look at some of the leading. Britt Hayes just got laid off earlier this
Yeah.
month or something.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, she was 15 years or something like that, like
Mhm.
lead editor. It's like, you see stuff like that and you're just like, okay, so it's like our small industry effectively can't keep like who are basically some of like the leading voices,
Mhm.
and yet they're all getting there's this whole payola thing
Yeah.
or whatever. It's like, okay, yeah, it doesn't quite factor out,
No.
it doesn't really
No.
make sense if yeah, so anyway.
But we're asking that people on the internet who see things or read things have some kind of critical thinking skills, and
Right.
that has been far and away not I don't know. It's a whole thing. But
Yeah.
but yeah, anyway, Project Hail Mary was great.
Yeah, I had a really good time with
Yeah.
it, and I'm
Yeah.
glad. And I shouldn't be like, oh, there's a backlash. Like, actually, even most of the stuff I've seen like has been positive from like people and
Yeah.
all that. So yeah, and it's like a
Yeah.
pretty like it's like a feel good blockbuster in a way, sort of.
Yeah.
like I don't know. I kind of came out of it feeling I don't know, just feeling good about that movies like that are like still getting made that have a lot of spectacle, but also
Totally.
feel, optimistic in some measure. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I like, and this is treading on my episode last week, but just like I'm just so astonished by how much I enjoyed that movie, because so much of it seemed not cribbed from other science fiction, but very much influenced and not necessarily even borrowing from, but like reminiscent of various different science fiction stuff that I have I'm on a spectrum of my enjoyment of each thing. But none of that factored into how I appreciated the movie as a whole, because it wasn't like anything that was distracting from it, which I think is a pretty good achievement.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember coming out of it feeling the same way. That there's definitely like a lot of. I think to me that's almost, at least I came out of it as like that's sort of a either feature or bug of like the storytelling and like Lord Miller, like, which is to say like the influences, like they're wearing them on their like sleeve, like the heart of their sleeve sort of thing. And so I think I don't know, I think sometimes filmmakers are a little more like cagey about their influences, where they're like,
Sure.
yeah, no, it is like this. It is like this. It is like this.
Yep.
Whether they've done it in interviews, I don't really even know, but it came out in the movie to me. But yeah, I don't know. I don't exactly know why that didn't bother me this time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah, I think it was just the perfect combination. Lord and Miller, Drew Goddard, Andy Weir, Ryan
right.
Gosling, just like
Yeah.
that was just such a good combination. Um, and it made me wonder, and I didn't bring this up in my review of it or anything, but it made me wonder what their solo movie would have been if it was like a true Lord and Miller movie. Because Ron Howard directed it. Jesus. I was trying to think if they just like took their names off of it, or if they were. I didn't remember if they were completely removed from it. But yeah, I would have loved to have seen what their Han Solo movie would have been. But I mean, love to see. Star Wars is fine.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been interesting. It's funny, I wasn't really thinking about Solo or like Star Wars stuff as much during Project Hail Mary, even though, I mean, it's set in space, but also Ryan Gosling's going to be in Starfighter.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's sort of odd that it almost didn't, come up or whatever to me. But yeah, I didn't really vibe with Solo.
No.
But yeah, I mean, I think they probably would have done a good job. I don't know. There's just some. I feel like there's just some directors that, I think Lord Miller are a good example. It's like throughout kind of like all their projects, being able to take things that are familiar and still make them like funny and fresh.
Yes.
And that's a hard thing to do.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, just what it sounds like before coming into those movies, they have like expectations and they're kind of bringing more into it. So, so yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
They're a good pair.
Yeah. And finally, any new thoughts on The Thing when you revisited it for Midwest Film Journal?
Kurt Russell's a good looking man. Yeah. You see it. I probably see it, I don't know, 5-6 times or whatever throughout the years. I mean, not like recently.
Yeah.
I mean, I rewatched it recently for the piece that I wrote.
You really went in depth for that essay.
Yeah. That's pretty much when you watch it like 5 or 6 times. Yeah. You're just like, yeah, I don't know who the thing is, who's who or whatever. You kind of just get, you kind of get lost in the beard and the hair, and you resent the scenes where he has to have it like the not poncho but the coat where it's like he's like, it's like hiding. It's like, get that off there, man. But no, obviously a classic movie, super fun to revisit. I probably should have gone back and maybe, I mean, even I was thinking of other like John Carpenter movies that I could have gone back and like revisited or whatever, and the ones that Kurt Russell is in, because he's done several films with him. But I think for when I called it, or for when I did it, I think maybe someone had already done Escape from New York and LA. Someone had already put it down. So, yeah, I mean, it's influential of a whole, generation of, horror and cosmic horror, certainly. And probably some of the best effects work, practical effects work done in a horror movie maybe ever.
It's funny because I was thinking about The Thing recently, because our friend Sam had messaged me and said, because he's a huge 90s fan, and he was like, I'm watching The Faculty for the first time in years, and like he was just like messaging me saying like, this is so fucking great, I love this movie. I was like, oh yeah, me too, it's so great. And 2 things about that is going to sound like I'm going to lead into our review, but we have another segment to go through. But I didn't put together that Elijah Wood and Sean Hattasey were both in The Faculty and now are in Ready or Not 2 until I saw like a clip. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's such a great clip because they were talking about, like, it was a panel with the cast for Ready or Not 2. And like, I think the interviewer like mentioned like, oh, what do you think of The Faculty now that, it's so far removed from it and everything. And like Elijah Wood he just seems like such a cool guy. He like went into this thing. It's like, oh, I am very fond of it. I love it. That was one of my first big. It was the first. He said it was the first time he'd been in Austin, and it was the first time he ever went to Alamo Drafthouse back when that was the only Alamo Drafthouse. And
Right.
so like he has like these fond memories of the movie, and like I was thinking about that when Sam messaged me, and I was just like, it's so funny because I love that movie. I love The Faculty because that was like prime like Scream era slasher stuff. Like it was in the shadow of that. Robert Rodriguez doing a script from Kevin Williamson. It just felt like it was for me at the time. And like I remember thinking like, oh my God, this movie is so great. It's so original and everything. It's like it's The Thing in high school. Like that's what it is.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
Body Snatcher, you know,
Yeah, Body
any of the
Snatchers,
Invasion of
too.
the Body Snatchers movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's a fun one. I always love like Jon Stewart trying to act
Yep.
in that movie.
Yes.
That's a fun one. And
Oh, yeah.
Robert Patrick for that lean back he does alone as the football coach. He's
Yes.
like, it's so good.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I haven't seen it in a while. Do they do any like Terminator 2, like T-1000 parallels with him in that, or I don't even know if they do.
They might have done something that was a little like not very overt, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. I just remember, there's that shot of him out in the rain, and all the players are like behind him, and
yes,
yeah,
so good.
Bottoms, the way they treat football in Bottoms, I felt like had a lot of The Faculty in the way this like.
That's a good point. That's real. Yes,
it's just like the most like ridiculously over the top Smash Mouth high school football.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
God, I need to watch Bottoms again.
Yeah. The whole like there's like of course like the whole scene towards the end, and which is has to do with like a sprinkler system too, which reminded me I guess all the water and everything. I'm sure Bottoms was influenced by probably by The Faculty, but I mean like a lot of not another teen movie, but in some cases some of the movies that even influenced that I guess too, but the football in that in The Faculty and Bottoms both is pretty ridiculous. So
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. So check out Brent's work over at awakeinthedark.com and his essay at midwestfilmjournal.com, which he has linked at awakeinthedark.com also. So as far as what's playing this week in indie, I didn't have anything put together, so check your local listings. Check out Alamo Drafthouse, Can, Living Room Theaters, Keystone Art, Flix Brewhouse. You can't go wrong. There's a lot of really cool stuff out there. So I'll put links to all those theaters in the show notes, of course. But Brent, before we get to our review, do you want to go over some brief movie news from the internets?
Yeah, sounds great.
All right. So I've got two pieces of news, one being the Oscars. I have not watched the Oscars yet. I kind of got the play-by-play from you and the guys in our group chat and everything. What did you think of the ceremony, and what did you think of the winners?
Excuse me. Yeah, we went over to a friend's for the ceremony. We dressed their dog up. We had like a little collar with like a suit thing, and he's old. He's like 14 or something.
Oh wow!
But he looked really cute, and we did like a little like kind of red carpet thing, and they have a couple couple kids, and their daughters. Like we did like little like Oscar statuette things and stuff. And then I did bring back Oscar cocktails, which were on hiatus for 9 years. Because the last time I made cocktails for the Oscars, I made them, I went crazy with the bitters and forgot like the second half of the ceremony, including
wow.
La La Land won and then lost Best Picture. So I did not overindulge this year, I will say.
Nice.
And I did a whiskey drink that was basically just a whiskey sour with
and
Jameson.
A drink
It was Irish. It was Irish whiskey instead of typical bourbon. And I called it a smokestack sour.
Nice.
Sinners won there. And then French 75 is already an existing cocktail, so that was easy enough.
Nice.
So I did that. And what else we do? We did like a few food items or whatever. So no tub thumping, unfortunately. I'm sorry. But
unfortunate. Oh well.
if Chumbawamba's ever nominated for an Oscar or a lifetime honorary thing or whatever, maybe we'll do that.
That would be pretty. That would be wild. That would be crazy. But it does immediately reminds me of I think it was when Jon Stewart hosted, and I think 3-6 Mafia was nominated for Hustle and Flow.
Hard out here for a pimp. Yeah.
Yeah, and they won. And I remember Jon Stewart came out and he was like, for those keeping score, 3-6 Mafia, 1 Oscar, Martin Scorsese, 0. I was like, that's pretty good.
That's the math right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
3-6-1.
Yeah.
Marty Supreme, 0. Although he ended up winning the following year. Well, Hustle and Flow, I think, came out in 2005, 2006.
I think so.
So, like, shortly after, I got like a couple years after, maybe. So you didn't have to wait that long. But yeah, it's still, still pretty amazing. I think I think Queen Latifah announced that's 3-6 Mafia 1 or whatever. And it's always fun when there's like best song winners that people really love, which is usually the case. I mean, it kind of should be the case. But it was certainly the case this year with Golden. People, they performed it and somehow hit that high note. Insane. But yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, Conan's good host. Yeah, he did a good job. I think probably about as good a job as anyone could do. I don't know. It's just like
it's kind of a thankless job.
Yeah, exactly.
Really.
It always has been. I think it kind of always will be to a degree. But I do think he does a great job. So yeah, it was good. I'm trying to think. Michael B. Jordan winning Best Actor for me was kind of one of the cooler moments. Just because I think for a while, obviously Timothée Chalamet was the favorite, and I think to a certain degree, I think people almost felt like resigned to it, and whether it had to do with his whole like campaign or the opera ballet thing, I don't know. The tide sort of turned, and Michael B. Jordan was able to swoop in. I think he's really excellent in Sinners, and I think I'm not saying that like, oh, we just give Oscars out for people being good folks or whatever, but you can tell like when he won, like people immediately just like shot up, and like people were
awesome.
Really really just thrilled about it, because I think he's one of those actors. He's done good work. I mean, he's still relatively young. He's think about already he's late 30s, I think, something like that. But he's been around for a while. Think of The Wire, Friday Night Lights, his like TV work and stuff, and he's directed films now, getting into production and stuff like that, and I mean, seems like a pretty good dude. So and that to say nothing of his actual performance that he won for, which I think was really good. And it's funny, the thing I was kind of thinking about was how many and I've probably said this before on the podcast, but like how many like dual role or like actors playing like multiple roles in movies there were like last year. I almost I don't even know if Oscar voters necessarily thought this way, but it was almost kind of a way of like awarding that, because I think it's really challenging, and I think when you get into some of the nuances and what he does with his performances to distinguish Smoke and Stack from one another, actors playing multiple characters, whether it's green screen trickery, you had to split the film in the old days. It's been around for a while, but I think I don't know if it was like the Academy's way of sort of honoring that sort of art, but hopefully it was. But he gave a really nice speech. I thought the speeches were all generally like pretty solid. PTAs, the ones that he awards he won, I thought he did a really good job with his speeches. Yeah, Coogler's speech was good. Yeah, I was pretty happy. Kind of came down between
Nice.
Sinners and One Battle for
Yeah.
picture, and even down to it, I was like, I don't know, because they split
Nice.
almost down the middle.
Oh yeah.
August's the I'm sorry, I'm blanking on her last name, but I think she goes by 3 names. But regardless, she won for cinematography for Sinners, and
Okay.
you
Yeah,
know,
wasn't that like she's like the first woman or something, or maybe just the first woman of color?
she's the first woman of color to win. Yeah,
Okay.
she was. I think Rachel Morrison was nominated for Mudbound
Oh, okay.
in that would have been 2018 or 19, something like that. So, but yeah, she was the first woman of color to win, and that was another one I think people were really thrilled. Again, like a just great looking,
Oh
a great
yeah.
looking movie, and whether it was between that Sinners or One Battle,
Yeah.
both IMAX, humongous kind of presentations, both very well
Two
shot.
they're both incredibly gorgeous movies. Just
Yeah.
like that's what I didn't watch the Oscars or anything, but like as like the play-by-play was happening and everything, I was content with either one winning either awards and everything, because those are two like very, very high quality movies. Even
Yeah.
though obviously The Life of Chuck didn't get nominated anywhere or anything.
Gotta let it go, man.
I can't. I can't.
You can't. Yeah. I know. It's rough. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, really, that's honestly the way I felt. I mean, I like One Battle more. Obviously, it was my favorite film of last year. But like,
Right.
again, like Sinners, I think is a pretty strong, exemplar for a lot of the sort of like did really well financially. Like critics loved it, audiences loved it. Like all this stuff, very technically accomplished. So like,
Yeah.
I had no problem with whatever was going to happen with any of the awards. That it was kind of between the two of them, and then picture. So yeah, I really didn't even know when it finally came down to it. But yeah, one battle, one out. I kind of thought I thought Sinners could, but kind of seemed almost like a coin flip to me. But congrats to WB regardless, man. It's such a weird thing of like, they made these like two great films that were like these like neck and neck contenders, although not even to Warner Brothers perspective, not
Right.
they win either way, but yeah, well, they're gonna get sold off, and it's probably gonna suck, and whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
but for one moment, we had two great movies that people
Exactly.
liked a lot, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll harness that one moment for the
and
for
no
the dark
Batgirl
times
still.
Yeah.
two movies that people really loved, and one movie that no one will know if they love or hate ever.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, it was a good Oscars. I felt it was like a good one to watch. It was a good one, I feel like, to generally like be able to root for pretty much most of the most of the leaders and the stuff that won.
Nice.
I'm trying to think if there were any that I was like really like miffed about. I don't think so. I had different preferences on some, but
F1 getting the snub really caused you to lose sleep, I'm sure.
Not for sound. It won for sound.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I think for sound. I think that's right.
That sounds right.
But it was nominated for, I think, a couple. It might have been nominated for editing too, but it won for sound, I think. But yeah, F1. Ugh.
Yeah. Yep. And even that, like, I didn't hate the movie. Like,
I didn't either. It just didn't really belong there. But no, I didn't hate it either. And that was another one out for theatrical. That was WB. After the fact, it was Apple.
Right.
So yeah, that was another one. I mean, WB.
Jeez.
I'm sure. Like, I didn't see the studio breakdown, but I mean, WB definitely came out on top. So yeah.
Okay. Well, that is the rundown of the Oscars that I still have not watched. So the other piece of news I have, I'm going to throw a quick curveball because I want to address this piece of news that happened like a week or two ago. Val Kilmer, the there was a news item. I don't have it readily available to me, but basically what it came down to is that the powers that be are going to do a deep fake AI performance of Val Kilmer in a movie that he was cast in before, his throat cancer kind of prevented him from doing projects. And so with the blessing of his family, they're going to create an artificial performance from Val Kilmer for that movie. And I saw some comments about it. I'll put a link to the actual story in the show notes and everything, but I saw some comments that were like, well, his family says it's okay, so, I don't see why this is a problem. I hate it so much. I
You hate his
it.
family? Why do you hate family, Matt?
No. Um, I hate this news item so much. What do you make of it?
Yeah, no, it's pretty bad. I don't really know many of the details other than what you had laid out. But I mean, the thing for me is like, it's like, besides putting the deepfake AI stuff just aside for a second, it's like, what is this movie that it's like, oh, we had to like have this version of him being in it. It's like just either scrap the movie if he wasn't the lead, or just like recast. Like, they recast Kevin Spacey with when Christopher Plummer like 4 days before the movie came out. I'm exaggerating,
right?
But was it called All the Money in the World, something like that?
Yeah.
But it's just gross. And I mean, I get like it's so funny because people saying, well, his family said it was okay. It's like, that's like the lowest bar to clear.
Right.
Like, that's just like basically signatures on the paper. And
Exactly.
I'm sure they have a snippet about, this is honoring his legacy, all this stuff. And it's like, it's, whatever. Technically, I mean, look, if the studios are using this to figure out, to sort of focus group this for everyone as to how people are going to react to actually seeing, this sort of performance in a movie, they're going to do it. So like they're going to try it because this is obviously where things are going, whether you and I like it or not. So this, again, if they can get the family's blessing, it's no egg on their face from that perspective, then they're going to do it. So yeah, I'm certainly not a fan of it. And I think I mentioned this when you brought it up in the chat. I mean, again, blessing the family is, again, to me, the bare minimum. If they, feel like it would honor him, then, that's obviously their call. But it's especially unfortunate when there was such a great documentary made about him a few years ago called Val, which is on, I think still on Amazon Prime.
I think so.
Which
you can watch for a slightly higher price for Amazon Prime.
Or with ads, as Val would have wanted. But, and that his son, Val Kilmer's son is speaking, kind of in voiceover from like, diaries, and, Val Kilmer took a lot of, like handheld like camera footage on sets and everything. It's just like a really great documentary. I almost feel, and again, I know this movie that they're making with his likeness or whatever is not a documentary about his life, but it's like, that just felt like kind of the best send off between that and like kind of what they did in Top Gun Maverick, which again, I'm assuming was done, with his family's permission as well. Although by that point, he had still been, anyway, I think he'd still been alive, but anyway.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And Top Gun, he appeared in it. Like,
right. Well, I was saying that, anyway, regardless, like, I think that documentary is, I don't know, kind of just like, probably just to best just like almost like leave him alone after like this kind of it was such a good like almost like send off in a way, I feel like. And
absolutely a celebration of his
of
his career, and like it's such a great send off to his career and like transition into like his legacy now. Like he passed away, unfortunately, but it is a good kind of celebration of the body of work that he left behind. And that's what bothers me so much about it, because like with this thing, like I know nothing about the movie or anything. But when I read like the headline, I thought like, oh, I wonder if this is, before I read further, I was like, I could see them doing that for like the Mark Twain movie that he wanted to make. That was like his passion project. I wouldn't condone that or anything, but I could understand the, the sentiment of wanting to do that. But like, from what I could glean from the article, is like, this is just a movie he was cast in prior to him getting sick. Like, I don't know if there's anything really like pulling for that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting
Yeah.
at. Like when I just started off, it's like, is this real? Yeah, like, that's a great example. Like, as Mark
Mm.
Twain, yeah, if this was like somehow some realization of that,
Mhm.
it's hard for me to say how I'd feel. I don't know how I feel about that, but that
Yeah.
would at least make more sense to me. Yeah, it's like,
Right.
if this is his,
It would make it not feel like a focus group thing for this technology.
right, right. If this was
It
just
would just
like
disguise it more.
right, exactly. Yeah, but I'm kind of just getting like an Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus vibes with this.
Mhm.
It's like, well, he was in it, so that's a movie that
Yeah.
Heath Ledger was in for a part, Terry Gilliam one that he was in for
Right.
like a part of it, and part of the narrative is that character has different appearances. So, regardless, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, yeah, this was not, I don't think anyway, like some passion project of his. This is
No.
just like something you have to be cast, and it's like,
Yeah.
just recast him. Just
Yeah.
come on.
And that's what I'm like, that's what I'm kind of getting at with, I posted this on Facebook and everything, but basically like, there, I don't see any point to it. Like, I
Yeah.
literally, like, there's no point to it. And one of the things that bothers me about it, and really depresses me about just the idea that anyone anywhere is going to think like, oh, this is a good thing for art, is that I I said this on Facebook, but filmmaking is a collaborative effort, and it's not like a director is just going to, like, it is a collaborative effort between, among like hundreds and hundreds of people, to bring about a singular vision of a movie. And like the director's vision is that vision, but it's never going to, like, it's an endless compromise.
Mhm.
And what I am so bothered by with this is that it is creating a facsimile of Val Kilmer and his performance. Like, this is, in no way would this ever be considered a Val Kilmer performance, because he does not, he is no longer able to make those decisions as an artist to put his unique spin on the role. Like, there are these nuances, there are these choices that actors make that are different from what other actors would make, and to create just this artificial approximation of his performance, uh likely based on an algorithmic view of his entire career and everything, is just so patently wrong and like gross. It's just so disgusting to me. I hate it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not, yeah, it's not acting, like you said,
Yeah.
it's not a
Oh yeah.
collaboration. It's what people's, I guess, yeah, algorithms, ideas of what they think he might have gone with for a
Yeah.
performance, which it's so funny because with Val Kilmer, it's like, I mean, again, I thought about this after he passed and during the Val doc and all this. He had so many. You kind of almost didn't know
Yeah.
how he was going to approach any sort of
Oh, yeah.
role, And I think, yeah, it's such a shame too for someone that. And again, I got a lot of this out of the documentary that took the craft of acting so seriously.
Yes. Yes.
That this would basically be like this performance or whatever. It's like. Yeah, it's just gross, and I mean, it's just it's all them soft launching into anyone who will sell their likeness,
Yep.
and it's this sort of what will kind of eventually, I'm sure, this kind of already fracturing potentially going to happen, with effectively high art and low art. They won't be called by those terms, but it'll be organic, grass-fed art, and factory farmed art. I mean, I'm kind of being facetious, but I mean that's kind of what I mean. Where it's like, oh, these are films that are made by these handcrafted, and there'll be all these montages of key grips putting stuff together. Which I'm not trying to be a dick about it, because there are a lot those make jobs and and all this stuff, and it's like there never used to be an option. It was always every film was handmade, even if there were effects. I mean, even whatever even if there were things like that. But we'll get to the point where the of course necessarily though the tickets or whatever it will be ticket prices will be higher for that, and then you'll have the effectively like a Nickelodeon of just like whatever AI thing wackadoodle boo like spits out.
Jesus.
And I don't there's nothing I've seen over the past few years that has made me feel like we're on a different trajectory than that.
Yeah, and that's such a bummer. And like I don't I feel like this is a turning point for like me in my life. Like I'm here in a couple of months. Geez, no, not a couple of weeks, couple of months. I'm turning 40 years old. And like, I don't know. At some point I have to question, is this old man yells at cloud because he doesn't like the AI thing? Or is this actually like the end of like art as I know it? It's so tough to gauge, but I don't feel like any of it's overreacting at all, because I mean, I'm now at the point where I I have to question every single time I see like a video or hear something, whether or not it's AI generated. And like, I can give you off the top of my head 3 examples that happened in the last week of that.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's insane. Like last night I was playing a video game. I was playing Ghost of Yotei, and that made me think like, oh, samurai. I love samurai. So when I was going to bed, I was like, I'm going to like see if there's like a deep dive history thing on like the history of samurai in Japan and everything, and like just to kind of listen to while I'm like falling asleep. And I did, and like it took me like not too long, but it took me like a few beats before I was like, wait, this is one of those like AI voiceovers. Like I if I give it the benefit of the doubt, they did script it and then just fed it through an AI voiceover, but more likely it's also AI generated text that's being read by an AI generated voice. And like, I hate that we live in this time where we have to question that every time.
You have to, because they keep doing it. I mean, Netflix has released multiple documentaries this year alone that in one way or another use AI, whether it's for voiceover or basically like kind of deep fake effects. I saw one of them. I didn't know it at the time, and it wasn't really good anyway, but it was a case that I think Aubrey, my wife, knew about anyway, but it was something Hamby. I forget, with disappearance of someone Hamby. I forget the person's name, but they used, this was unfortunately a kind of creative use of it. They used AI to deepfake someone whose appearance they wanted to obscure intentionally. They didn't want, so what you would normally get is the or they don't show their face, or both. But they just instead deepfake someone else's face like over theirs. Oh. So it was kind of like, an interesting way of doing that. So to be honest, I wasn't totally opposed to at least the intent behind that, which is like, well, it almost doesn't matter what they sort of deep fake over their face, because as long as it just doesn't look like them. But the other instances are of like voiceovers. I have not seen the Red Hot Chili Peppers documentary, but it's I think Netflix or somehow they figured out that they AI'd someone's a voice, I think reading out of their diary or something. But, you know, look, I mean, companies are going to get away with this unless people call them out. And unfortunately, it's going to take companies like Disney, who backed out of their AI, open AI investment, you know, to company, you know, corporations are the problem and corporations are the solution.
Right.
Only in the sense that, you know, litigious corporations that don't want the likeness of their property, you know, just outsourced to everyone. That's this specific solution.
Yeah.
But corporations trying to make money, of course, is, well, yeah. Of
Right.
course, that's going to be the problem in that's you know, whatever. But yeah, I mean, where all this stuff goes, we'll see. But in terms of the Val Kilmer thing, I mean, yeah, like, whatever. I just, like you said, I mean, it's a good point of the Mark Twain thing. Like, that would have at least given me a little more to chew on and been like, huh, that's kind of interesting, because it is something that is kind of...
It would have put it closer to being in a gray area.
Sure. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still would not approve of it. But,
yeah. And I think that's totally valid. And to anyone that sees like the true crime documentary that I can't remember the name of, and they feel like no, like hardline, like any use of AI is gross, even if it's obscuring someone's face who doesn't want their like you know, face to be revealed. I totally get that too. I respect that opinion. I thought it was weird when I watched it, and I was like, oh, like, it's noticeable for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, I'll be honest. A lot of the true crime stuff is just kind of on in our house. I didn't watch it because I'm like, oh, it's the true crime documentary that AI in it. It's like, we watched it probably the same day it came out, so we didn't even know. But
like, the thing about that, and then we can move on. But the thing about that kind of immediately, I don't know, just rubs me the wrong way. Like, I agree that's an interesting application for it. Like, having that, using that way is interesting. However, there are two things that I'm like are immediately jumping to mind to me with that, is that one, like, hire actors doing reenactments or something, or I don't know, like, there's a reason that was the preferred thing through the years. But if it's just a talking head and like they want to disguise their appearance, like, my thought on that, and this is an extreme example, but my thought is, if someone wants their identity, you know, their privacy protected, that's great. Like, I'm all for that. But when the art just creates another vision of that person, like, I don't know, it'd have to be certain circumstances, but like, say that someone wants to say that someone wants their identity concealed because they because of their opinion or something, what they're saying in the documentary,
right?
And then they just alter their appearance to look like someone else, like, depending on like the seriousness, the severity of the subject matter and everything, crazy people are going to find it, and crazy people are going to not discern
to unswirl the face.
Not even that. Like, crazy people will see that, get a crazy reaction to what that person's saying, and then they will see that, like, person that has no connection to anything and be like, oh, okay, well, this other person looks like that person, so I don't know if I'm making sense, but like,
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, and I don't know exactly if it's something where it's like the face that they're showing us is not an actual. It probably is like not an actual person that exists.
Right.
We've seen those where it's like, look at this lineup of people. None of these are actual faces or actual people. So I don't know. I'd have to like look up like, like how that was done. It would have been. We're really off subject now, but like a Scanner Darkly, where it's you know, where it's constantly changing, you know, your appearance, and I think that was so they could evade detection from like cameras, basically. Yeah, that's a great movie. Anyway, but yeah, so yeah. Anyway, in general, no, definitely not I'm definitely pessimistic about the way forward, if that's what it is. And yeah, it's kind of a bummer. Like it's not probably a movie I would have seen anyway, but I'm definitely not going to like support it if they're trying to do that. So
sure. But
how good could it have been, Val Kilmer's Family? Come on.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It does remind me of the Simpsons bit where Milhouse is cast in Radioactive Man, and then he quits because he can't handle the fame and everything, or the spotlight. So he there's a scene where they're like, well, through the magic of editing, we can make it look like he just never left, and it's just like an insert of him saying Jimmicky Jillikers or whatever. And they're like, you're fired. He's like, with good cause, yeah. So great. But
was he playing Fallout Boy?
Yes. Yep.
Was he really? I just guessed that because I know that's
a
Simpsons reference. Yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Number one Simpsons fan right here, baby.
Dude, you gotta watch it. It's so good.
I love the episodes. That's like every. Well, not Friends. Not that I have a problem with Friends, but I've only seen one episode of that. But any show that has been on for like 10 plus years that I've seen a few episodes of, I probably enjoyed all of the episodes, and The Simpsons is like a great example of that.
Nice.
So, yeah.
I recommend watching that episode in particular. I think it's like season 6, episode 1. Radioactive Man is the title of it. It's one of my all-time favorites.
I've seen the one. I'll say the one that I know I've seen. I've seen others, but the one I remember is when they're recruited to be Bart and some of his friends are recruited to be a boy band.
Yes.
And it turns out it's a propaganda for the Navy. and Ralphie says, "I'm wearing a bathrobe, but I'm not even sick." And he's like, because they're like in a green room or something like that. That was a really bad Ralphie Wiggum, but
passable for someone who's
I'm in danger. He's poor sweet Ralphie he's amazing. But I have seen that one. But yeah, I need to see it. I know I need to see a lot more. And I have Disney Plus. Like I've had access to them for a while. So
well, Radioactive Man is season 7, episode 2.
You were close. I think you said 6-1, so that wasn't bad.
Oh yeah.
Not
Those
bad.
like I think seasons 5, 6, and 7 are like the ones I go to frequently. It's such a comfort show. But speaking of comforting news, we can wrap up the news section with this one piece of news, and then we can actually get to our reviews. So with I think late yesterday it broke that there's going to be a new Lord of the Rings movie. It was announced that Stephen Colbert and his son are scripting a movie that is exploring the 6 chapters of Fellowship of the Ring that Peter Jackson didn't include in his adaptation. I should have reread the article, but basically what I gathered from it is that Stephen Colbert, who is a massive Lord of the Rings fan, like on a completely other level, he and his son are going to they're breaking down a story where they're taking the 6 chapters that are like chapters like 2 through 7 of Fellowship of the Ring that were not in the movie, and they're using that as a framework to tell a story about, I believe it said that like years after the War of the Ring, Sam's daughter is like looking into how their journey, how the war almost ended before it even got started, and it's has something to do with those like sections of chapters. And what do you make of this news?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched Rings of Power. I'd probably be more interested. I know it's a show, but I'd probably be more interested in this. I mean, it's interesting like that he's, sort of. I don't know the last time. Besides, like, I'm sure he's like writing behind the scenes, like for the Late Show, and I'm sure he like contributed for Colbert Report, but like writing a film. In fact, I don't know if he's like ever done. So it's kind of a cool project from that perspective. Yeah, I mean, I would check it out. yeah, I mean, I still love the original trilogy, and if somehow it can sort of like kind of be in there as like part of like the Fellowship almost. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what he comes up with. He certainly knows the stuff. I know that's been a running thing on The Late Show, and he did that on the Colbert Report. Even he would basically break character because it wouldn't make sense for the character who was playing on that show to know anything about Lord of the Rings. You know, whatever his character probably pantsing people that knew about Lord of the Rings, but he would like get on Tolkien you know, matches with it's like. Yeah, people like that kind of scare me a little bit with how much they know about really any given, well, unless they're like rocket scientists or something like that, but anything that's, you know, fantastical. But good on them. And I mean, it'll be a interesting father-son project. So
I'm curious about it. I think it's interesting, and it's funny timing. I'm centering myself on this. Funny timing because I've been listening to the audiobook for Fellowship of the Ring, and like I re-listened to The Hobbit. This is my first time going through the Lord of the Rings proper though. So I'm like almost done with Fellowship of the Ring. So like those chapters are fresh in my mind, and it's like it is basically it's a run of time between essentially between the time Frodo and Sam and Merry and Pippin leave the Shire and arrive at Rivendell. So there's a big swath of book where they meet Tom Bombadil, who famously was not in the movie, and people were very upset about it and everything. It's funny because like listening to those chapters, I was like, oh, okay. I had two thoughts with Tom Bombadil because I had no context for who he was or anything because I've only seen the movies. I had two thoughts. One was that I eventually got to the point where I was like, oh, I can see why people were pissed off because like it's a very good character. There's some very interesting stuff there, but also this is a big chunk of story. Like it is. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in that run of chapters. And the other thing, this is a tangent. Tower Junkies, check it out, my Stephen King podcast with Tiny, but it reminded me of Stephen King's The Dark Tower, Book 7. There's an element of Book 7 that is like a lot of it is taken from Tolkien and everything, but there's a section of Book 7 that is very much like basically the characters in The Dark Tower meet someone that is similar to Tom Bombadil in certain respects. And because Book 7 of The Dark Tower is Book 7 of The Dark Tower, like it is a dangerous thing. Like it is like the person that they meet is a very dangerous individual. And so not knowing the context of Tom Bombadil in The Lord of the Rings, when I was listening to those chapters and when I was listening to that section of the book, I had this moment where I was like, I'm nervous for the hobbits.
You don't want anything to befall them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I'm like, I don't know what this guy's deal is. Like, he's very mysterious and like, spoiler alert, he turns out to be like a super nice guy and like super, like he's a fan favorite. And like, but I was like on edge because I was like, damn it, Steve. You kind of have me on edge for this like charming character. So,
Stephen King, man, he makes even the light and merry stuff seem dark and sinister around the return. Yeah.
Yeah. That reminds me of the Family Guy bit where it's like, for my next novel, I'm gonna
the lamp.
The lamp, yeah.
All right.
So
have
great.
it in next week.
So I will put links to all the news items in the show notes. Any other thoughts on Lord of the Rings or Stephen Colbert or his son?
Glad he found a job. He's going to be unemployed in a couple months. I'm sure that was the timing of this. I'm sure is lined up with that as well with the Late Show being canceled. So yeah.
Who knows? Maybe when this movie comes out, it'll be the greatest thing ever, and all of this stuff will have been worth it. Yeah.
Don't do any AI on the Stephen Colbert Lord of the Rings movie. Warner's or whoever's doing it.
Totally agree. All right. Well, that's news and all the preamble and stuff. Are you ready to get into our feature review of the evening of Ready or Not 2? Here I come.
Let's do it. Here I come.
All right. Ready or not to. Yeah. Um, so we're going to go ahead and go into our feature review. Of course, we're going to do a separate spoiler discussion and non-spoiler review. So first, we're going to start off with non-spoilers. When we get to spoilers, I'll play a clip from the trailer. When we come back, we'll spoil the movie. But if you want to navigate around spoilers, check the show notes for timestamps. Those show notes are also available at obsessiveviewer.com/OV504. And yeah, in the description of the YouTube video that you're watching eventually. So having said that, let's get into our feature review of Ready or Not 2. It is currently in theaters, was released on March 20th, 2026, and the premise, according to IMDb, is after surviving one deadly game, Grace and her sister Faith must now outrun 4 rival families competing for a powerful throne. Winner takes all. Directors for this movie was Matt Bettinelli Open and Tyler Gillette. Writers were Guy Busick and R. Christopher Murphy, and Matt Bettinelli Open and Tyler Gillette. Of course, they're all kind of along with their producer Chad Villala. They're all radio silence, so it's a radio silence film. And the cast includes Samara Weaving, Catherine Newton, Elijah Wood, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Sean Hattasey, David Cronenberg, Olivia Chang, and Nestor Corbinell. So, Brent, in non-spoilers, what were your expectations going into Ready or Not 2? How'd you feel about the original, and what did you think of this one?
Yeah, the first one, came out in 2019. I think at that time, Radio Silence, I was familiar with their like VHS and Southbound segments or whatever. Didn't go in with a ton of expectations, but really enjoyed that first one quite a bit. I think at that time it was maybe a little more novel in terms of the kind of like campy horror comedy, like Eat the Rich, ultra violent, like sort of pastiche. So going back and rewatching it before the second one, it's like a tight, hour 35. I feel like it moves really well, and I had good memories, rewatching it and all that. Second one, we're 7 years after. It's kind of if anything, kind of a bummer that it's sort of. It's a weird thing because I know the first one did well box office wise, but Radio Silence has since done like 2 Scream movies. They did Abigail, and I'm sure they've been involved production wise with other projects. So, I guess going into this one, I don't know that I had like super high expectations, but I'm a fan of their work, and I think they're pretty like high floor sort of directors for me, that like even if they're not like putting out something that's like ultra like revolutionary or anything, I'm probably going to enjoy it. And that's kind of where I would put this sequel. Like it's frankly like not very ambitious. It's probably not even the best version of itself that it could be, but I had a good time. It sort of seems like damning it with faint praise, but I think it's not like the best movie that they've made, but I think if you're on board with the kind of movies that they've made that I mentioned, Scream 5 and 6, which are in that franchise, so they kind of carry more lore with them. But like the first Ready or Not, or like Abigail, for instance, like if you're a fan of kind of what they're doing in those movies, I think you'll have a good time with this one. It's just, I think to be frank, like. I had a good time, and it's one that I'm sure we'll rewatch at some point. But I don't even know that it's the best use of their time. Which sounds bad. It sounds like I'm really like slamming the movie, but I say that because there's just a lot of I think they have their hands on a lot of different things, and so kind of making a sequel to this movie in a sense almost just seems sort of safe. But again, I think it works, and I think it's a similar kind of thing where the cast really sells it. like you just mentioned, kind of all those names. I think they're all kind of in this world that gets kind of more ridiculous in this sequel, and they, you know, build on it in ways we'll talk about. But yeah, it's like it still like does what it says on the box.
Yeah.
And I can't say I was really like even disappointed. Like I had a good time
Yeah.
watching it. It's more just when I'm zooming out, I'm like, like they probably could have just done, you know, something like Abigail, which I understand is an adaptation effectively of Dracula's daughter, like
Right.
sorta.
Yeah.
They probably could have just taken on a different property, but it's still, this is still definitely a fun world to revisit. So
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. For me, the thing you said about this is not the best use of their time, I agree completely. And knowing how Scream 7 shook out with Kevin Williamson at the
right.
helm, like I feel like I didn't need Ready or Not 2. I needed Radio Silence's Scream 7, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. And I like Scream 6.
Yeah.
I actually didn't really like Scream 5, which I'm going to revisit at some point. But I like Scream 6 quite a bit. And yeah, I don't know nearly as much as you do about all the behind the scenes stuff with 7. I still have not seen Scream 7, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I would be okay with that too. If I had to sacrifice this movie at the altar with the goat so that you could get Scream 7, I think I would.
Yeah. What's crazy, what's crazy about that is that I feel like Abigail is like their Scream 7 in the sense that that's the movie that they made instead of Scream 7. But also, like, they're not even like that. There's so many different versions of Scream 7 that could have happened. Like, because when they left, Christopher Landon was gonna do it, and then when all of that stuff happened with Melissa Barrera, he left the project and went on to make Drop, which is perfectly serviceable. But like, I would also rather see Christopher Landon Scream 7 than I would see Drop.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
that's
anyway,
that's a good example of one too that, like, yeah, probably not my favorite of his, but I liked it quite a bit. But I know it's different for you, you know, how much you have like invested in the Scream franchise. It's hard to see people like Radio Silence and Christopher Landon come and go.
Yep.
So yeah, I get that.
Yeah. But anyway, Ready or Not, I do want to mention the first one. That's a movie that's kind of grown on me over the years. Like, I remember when I first saw it in 2019 in the theater, it was like, I think I initially rated it 3 stars, and since then it's gone up to 4 stars for me. It's just a movie that I continue to appreciate. When I rewatched it before this, I was just so gobsmacked by just the lightning in the bottle that they captured with it. And it's interesting because watching it now, like, removed from like 2019, I'd seen it a couple times before, in between the first viewing and this recent viewing, but 2019 was such a eat the rich year for like this very specific type of story. Like, we had Ready or Not with a woman in a house, you know, trying to get the upper hand on crazed millionaires, crazed like power people. We also had Parasite, which won Best Picture. That whole thing, and then Knives Out, same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so, not to say that 2019 was diluted with that or anything, but it's so interesting to see them revisit this now, which I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on it because it's a movie that I didn't need them to make a sequel. Like, I wasn't like, this is not a sequel that I was like yearning for, because I feel like the first one was such lightning in a bottle with them, with that. And like, I went into this with faith that the Radio Silence was going to deliver an enjoyable movie because they have a very strong track record. But like, I went in thinking like, okay, how are they going to, like, I know that it's like her and her sister now, or how are they going to address that, like, mysterious, like, oh, she doesn't really have like a real family thing? Like, how are they going to do that backstory and still remain true to what was established in the first movie? And then I don't know, I also, and this can kind of go in more into the non-spoiler review, but one of the best things about the first one is the air of mystery surrounding Mr. Labelle, I think. Anyway, the demon person.
LaBelle, yeah.
LaBelle, yeah. Mr. LaBelle, the mystery of that. And what was so great about the first movie is, like, it's not until, spoilers, the end, that you know for sure, like, oh, this is a real thing. Like, throughout the movie, like, they have all of these things where they're not, first of all, they're not, like, trained for hunting people, so they're bumbling around.
Right.
And fumbling around, which is great. And then there's also that just undercurrent throughout it that's like, oh, is this actually like real, or are they just so delusional and so protective of their wealth and their fortune that they're willing to do that? There's so much like really interesting social commentary that is more social commentary than you would expect from this specific type of horror movie.
Right.
So the first one's great, and then my concerns going into the second one were that I don't know if or how they could possibly recapture it. And to get into the non-spoiler section, I don't think they did. Like, it's fine. I had, like you said, I had fun with it too. I will say that it was a pretty sparse theater. There was like there was like 3 or 4 different groups of people. And I had such an interesting like reaction in the theater because there were 2 specific like people in 2 specific groups that whenever something happened that was funny or outlandish, they would howl with laughter like aggressively. And usually I'm like, oh God, this is like performative, or this is like annoying me. But I was like, this is actually enhancing it. Like, this is actually like really good.
So
they're
you
really
felt like it was
vibing
like
with it.
genuine, like they really were just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, okay. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really, it was an interesting surprise for me with the theater experience. But yeah, I feel like it lost something in this continuation of the story, but what it didn't lose is still fun, enjoyable.
Mhm.
There's some fun surprises here and there, but it's more just I'm along for the ride and I'm having fun with it. So I was kind of hoping for a little bit more, but they kind of did that little bit more, not to death, but they did it pretty spectacularly in the first one. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's an interesting movie to do a sequel to, because as you mentioned with the first one, and sorry if this is spoilers for the first one, but it came out 7 years ago, and sorry. The whole idea of like, oh no, it really is, like you said, like it's sort of like when you watch it for the first time, you're like, okay, well, are they just like totally delusional, and like what the hell is happening with this game? And is it, the subtext with it is you think it's the most dangerous game sort of thing, where it's like, oh, they just want to hunt this new member of the family just for sport. And going back to what just you were talking about for a second, for some of those movies, Parasite and Knives Out and Ready or Not come out in 2019. One that I thought about just a little bit during this movie was The Hunt, which was came out right at COVID, like March of 2020, which is not an Eat the Rich movie, but it is the most dangerous game kind of movie. And the way that people were sort of like dressed in this movie, Ready or Not 2, I think I called it, I don't know what I call it, like hunting chic or something like that in my review or something like that. It's like they all have the, like it's like, they're prepped for the like whatever North Face, like the polos, and not polos, but all this stuff. It's like you can tell they only hunt like a few times a year. Like they're not very good at this, and they do carry that over really from the first one, like what you talked about. Like these are not talented. The one wife of one of the sons or whatever is like a terrible shot, and and there's some of that here too anyway. But yeah, like this is a weird movie because again, you kind of mentioned like lightning in a bottle, like you can't have that transition again where she's, I don't want to say ingenue, but she is sort of like coming into the family and sort of like, oh, my family's messed up. Okay, well, hey, I'm with you, babe, and all that stuff. To her smoking a cigarette, blood all over the wedding dress. Like, you can't do that again, right? Like, you can't get the blood out of the wedding dress. Like, once that's done, that's where we start here, quite literally, with the sequel. So then it's like, well, what do you do? Well, that's where the Catherine Newton character comes in and kind of getting more. And I think they do, again, like a good enough job. It's a good enough facsimile, I think, for me in terms of there's not as much like character development in the first one in terms of that. There's not really something there. But it's probably the closest thing they can do to sort of make her character more than just basically like, I don't want to say a killing machine. That's not exactly true, but I mean, on the run and, and all of that. But I think the idea that it's very much a like sequel sort of sequel where it's like double the amount of players. There's 4 families instead of 1 and, all of this. So it has that sort of like ethos to it. Is just like, well, just do more, add mythology, add Elijah Wood as, the devil's advocate, basically. And, he says, these are the rules. And someone mentioned in the review, and they're totally right. This is like the John Wickification of, a movie that they probably didn't even expect to do super well in Ready or Not, and John Wick's case, both. So yeah, like it's fun on those terms. Like it works. I think having Samara Weaving and Catherine Newton in this, like both actresses who have worked with Radio Silence in various projects, like it's a sure bet. That's why, again, like if I have a problem with this movie is that it just kind of feels sort of like quote unquote safe in that sense. It's like, they're going to do great. I would buy them as sisters. They'll bicker. I believe that, that they're estranged, and, we find out more about, their relationship and why they're estranged and those sort of things. So yeah, like it works. I hate that it's like a movie that I like. It's I can't even fault it. I think it's for a Ready or Not sequel, like it probably hits the beats that it needs to, and I don't even know that there's like a ton that it could do to be so much better. Certainly some tweaks, I'm sure, but yeah, that's what kind of going back to like probably didn't need to get made, but the people who especially really like the first one, you'll definitely have like a good time with this. It delivers similar sort of kills and satirical jabs at the rich. Yeah, there are quite a few. I mean, you talk about, Death of a Unicorn. I think that was just last year, which is this movie, Ready or Not 2, is better than that one.
Agreed.
The Menu. I'm sure there's a lot. There's a lot that are more recent, but anyway.
It's funny because like I didn't forget that Catherine Newton was in Abigail, but I was like trying to think like, oh, what Radio Silence movie was she in? But that got me thinking that this I do love this style of filmmaking. It's evident throughout, all of film history and everything, but like having like a cast of actors that filmmakers work with continuously is really, really cool. Like I like that. Like even with like freaking Adam Sandler movies, like having the same cast of characters and everything. But like with Radio Silence and like Mike Flanagan, seeing them reuse the same actors in different roles and different projects is really it's a fun thing to see, and it's also indicative of like they clearly had a good time working together. So
and the other thing too, I think the reason I was thinking Catherine Newton, who was in Abigail, which is a Radio Silence movie, but she was also in Freaky, which is a Christopher Landon movie. And sometimes I feel like their styles kind of overlap. So I think that's sometimes why I sort of conflate those two. But
Yeah.
But yeah, she's really good here. One thing too that I think is different, that's kind of a marked difference between the sequel and the first one is that mansion, that house, and it's like a lot dimly lit. You mentioned Knives Out, which a lot of that takes place in this like really really elegant, exquisite house and all of that.
And both movies movies end with the protagonist possessing something of the rich people, and like I was like really kind of surprised by that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so those movies are definitely talking to one another for sure. But this one doesn't quite have the same evocative sense of setting, where it's sort of that like moodiness, and again, it works for that movie more where again, it's like whether or not they think that they're actually, whether or not there is a pact with Satan or whatever, and they're going to explode it, when the sun rises and all of that, they believe it, and that's all that really matters for the bride. Of course, we know this time around, the resort I think is fun. Then ending up on the golf course when they sort of wake up, they're handcuffed to one another and all that. I think it works. It's just it's not like. It almost like doesn't matter as much. I kind of wish they would have had maybe a little more like, I don't know, fun with that whole thing of like rich people's fascination with hunting, because that's a trope we've seen, and it's a thing just in life, how there's, you go to rich people's houses and they have like all the like mural paintings of like pheasants and the and the dog that's and it's just a thing, and we don't know why. This is just how the other half live, not half, the other 1% lives, and and so I don't know. They do a little bit in the costume wardrobe, as I kind of mentioned, but if they're gonna be at this resort that they just kick everyone out of, which I did like that. I don't know. I guess I was just looking for like little things here and there that could, because this one doesn't really have quite the same kind of edge of what we're talking about, like the social commentary, which is just, it's just kind of a bummer. It's just sort of missed. It makes this one a little more just two-dimensional, but
and I feel like that. I don't know if it's tough to say, because where we're at, like in 2026 versus 2019,
right,
that freshness of that Eat the Rich story in 2019, like that was really provocative. That was really satisfying in that social commentary. Here, I think that the big thing with me was that in the original, in the first one, it is that question of whether or not it's real or not. Like, it's an Eat the Rich story in the sense that this woman is getting the upper hand over these rich people, and she comes from a non-rich background and everything, and getting the upper hand. That's the satisfying thing about it. But also just that satire of them not even knowing what the fuck they're doing, like them being in this ultimate position of power over someone and over a lot of people. Like, the social commentary is just so strong. And here, like it even in that first movie, it even extends to like the maids, the help of the estate, that they continuously are like crossbow fodder and gun fodder, and they're also, at least a couple of times, they're also like selling out Grace to get like, to get in, to be in the good graces of the
they still don't know where their allegiances are. Right.
And like
the girl in the dumbwaiter is probably the main one that that's like a fun Final Destination. Well, Final Destination 2, I think, actually is where the elevator death happens, where there's something same kind of death.
I was thinking Halloween H2O.
There's probably I was going to say neither of these two movies is the only one where someone's body gets ripped apart somehow by an elevator. But but in any case, that's a great point too. You're right. It's like those are interesting characters of conflict where it's like, okay, well, they have seen this show before, and these freaking devil worshipping weirdos and all these like games, and here's this, you know, girl that's coming in, and it's like, yeah, who are you? who am I? You know, who I'm with?
Yeah, it's like it's such a great layer of additional commentary there, because it's them, it's the employees of the family, just like, maybe I'm like digging too deep into it, but it's just that, like you said, it's that conflict of allegiance and everything, but it's also them thinking that, oh, I am a part of this family. I'm accepting of like what they're doing because they can provide for me, and they're so much more powerful than I am. And if I'm obedient to them, I could get, you know,
I'll be taken care of. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, taken care of in
like,
the paid off sense, not in the killed sense.
Right.
Yeah.
But like here in this one, it just feels like all like a bunch of that social commentary is not necessarily absent, but it's downplayed a lot. Like, because that first movie had such a sharp wit about it, in the sense of us never really even knowing if it's a real curse or whatever. And then this movie being like, okay, well, not only do we know that it's real and everything, there's multiple different factions that we need to kind of contend with here. And instead of it being like, oh, just, you know, one of the have-nots getting the upper hand over the haves, it's like, okay, who's going to have the seat of total power and control everything in the world? And like, I'm just like, I don't know, maybe it's just where we're at now in 2026, but I'm like, I don't
a cabal of evil billionaires. It's not even enough to see them get, you know, gored and ripped apart by, right.
I'm like, I don't want to bother with this kind of story. Like,
it's not escapism anymore, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, yeah,
I was all for the eat the rich satire in the first one. This one is just like, now it's just kind of depressing, man.
Yeah, well, because it feels like bread and circuses, right? It feels like, oh well, you know, oh, they can have their fun for 2 hours, and we actually will wear the ring and be able to make a call and stop the Middle East conflict, as David Cronenberg's character does in the very beginning of this, which, you know, they couldn't have even known about the Iran conflict that's going on right now when they wrote this movie and when they shot it and all that. But that ended up unintentionally being kind of an interesting note. But I mean, I think you pointed out, and I mean, getting to what I was talking about with like Radio Silence, like I'm thinking of just like the setting, right? And like, even if they wanted to do, let's say, another Eat the Rich allegory, I could jive with that. But like, that's what I'm saying. Like, just do something. Even if you wanted to be on the resort, right? Like, you could make something about how I'm totally spitballing, but like, you know, maybe some guys are coming to this resort for like, I don't know, a golf thing or something, and then it turns out there's some weird, like, again, like the resort has this like long history. I'm thinking of the Overlook Hotel up there, something like something where it's like, oh, you have a sacrifice or something. I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to think of like, just something different, because it just feels like this was such an unlikely movie to get a sequel based on the story, not the success of the first film, but the story, that it's like, they probably just could have done something different. But I mean, I think it works. David Cronenberg, I mentioned, I mean, it's just great to see. He is just, what a presence he is.
It's so,
it's awesome to see on that side of the camera. Kevin Durant, I should say, too, is another one who's, I know he was in Abigail. I don't know if there are other, I don't know if he was in the Scream movies they did, but he was at least in Abigail. And, you know, he's always fun to see pop up. I always think of him from Lost Days as well.
Me too. I remember when season 4 of Lost was airing, like Tiny and I would have long conversations that, oh man, he's like a force to be reckoned with in terms of acting. Like, he was he's very chilling and Lost. But
for sure. I mean, great cast, fun to see. Sarah Michelle Gellar again. I know she's been in, I know, like several other sort of movies. The one, of course, that this one harkened back to for me, not as much of the slashers of like, I know what you did last summer, and some of the like romance ones, the ones when I was thinking of, and I think they expect you to bring this into the movie, was Cruel Intentions, which is about, you know, rich people who don't care, who treat people like pawns.
Right.
Uh,
Jeez, I was so hung up on the I Know What You Did Last Summer of it all. I didn't even think about Cruel Intentions.
Cruel Intentions.
That is wild.
Yeah, would have been interesting if Ryan Phillippe had been in the Sean Hannity role.
That would have been I thought Sean Hannity did a great job.
He
so
did.
I'll say that.
Yeah.
But that would have been so that would have almost probably been distracting, honestly.
But see, you know, that's what I feel like with this movie. It's like they almost it's like, even if you want to do stunt casting, like, I don't know, just do something, you know. That's kind of what I felt like with this movie. But Sean Hannity is good. It is fun to see him. It was funny to think of him in the pit, you know, as this doctor who's, you know, helping get people better and mend people together. He's pretty vicious in this film, so kind of fun to see the other side of that coin. And as you mentioned, the faculty too, I totally forgot that. Yeah, of course he is in that. So yeah.
There were a couple moments, like, just in my brain, I'm an idiot, but like, I was like, he better be careful. He's only got one leg.
Yeah.
But anyway. I will say that even though it does have those 4 separate factions that are all vying for the throne and everything, I did like the focus on Sean Hannity and Sarah Michelle Gellar's characters. Like, their roles in the movie were explored pretty well. I thought they were good villains for the movie, and their, like, storyline didn't contend too much with the sister's storyline and their backstory and everything. Like, the movie does a good job of handling both of those storylines concurrently and giving us, like, actually well-developed characters among those 2 sets of siblings. So I did appreciate that.
I think there's definitely dual storylines there about strained sibling relationships, and you know, coming from definitely different backstories, you know, both of all of the 4 characters or whatever. But I thought that was a nice way to mirror the heroines and then the villains. So like good solid foundational storytelling.
Yeah, I agree. Would you like to go into spoilers for Ready or Not 2? Here I come.
Yeah, so
all right. So before we do that, ratings. I rated it 3 stars. I thought it was a fun time. It might grow over time, but a serviceable sequel, but was definitely not going to live up to the pleasure of the first one, I guess. How about you?
Yeah, I'm right there. 3 out of 5, pretty much same commentary. Did want to mention one thing. Good job with I think they could have dropped the 2, but besides that, good job with the subtitling here. Ready or Not, and they could have just done Ready or Not, Here I Come. I almost wish they had done not just gotten rid of the 2 to imply that there's not going to be a third. They're not even going to try. Yeah. This is just a fun, like, whatever, like, kind of you know, following up on it. They could have just done Ready or Not, Here I Come. I'm not too worried about the 2. Why do I say this? I always have to bring it up. Now you see me, which they butchered. Now you see me. Now you see me too. And then Now You See Me, Now You Don't, which doesn't have a 3, but is the third movie. Nightmare scenario. It's Now You See Me. Second one is called Now You See Me, Now You Don't. And then the third one is called Now You See Me, either you can go with these and for my next trick, or the next act or whatever, because the new trick or whatever you want to call it, because there's a new cast of people they're bringing in. Still can't forgive that franchise. Just wanted to compliment Radio Silence on this. They did a good job with the Ready or Not, Here It Come.
Oh yeah,
there we go.
And to your point about the 2 being in the title, I will say that I do believe that the actual title card at the beginning doesn't have the 2. So there's you get some consolation there.
I think that, it is Ready or Not, Here I Come. I think they have the two kind of as Roman numerals in the background.
I think they do.
But it's okay. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Who knows? This is probably, who put this out? Warner? Or no, Searchlight. They might still be thinking like, oh, maybe we could do a third one. I don't think they should. They just shouldn't.
No, me neither.
But and that's not even spoiling where this one ends, just based on the thing. But
you could just said
three out of
exact
5.
same thing about the last one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right, exactly. But 3 out of 5. Yeah, like fun time.
Nice.
Fun movie time.
Nice. I agree. So we're going to go into spoilers for Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. Of course, check the show notes for timestamps if you want to navigate around spoilers. But I'm going to play a clip from the trailer. When we come back, we're going to be spoiling Ready or Not 2.
You've caused quite a stir, Mrs. Ladomas. You married into that family. Now they're dead. What you didn't know is that this goes far beyond them. By surviving hide-and-seek, you've triggered a new game. This time against the High Council families. Double or nothing. This part will be familiar. They will try to kill you.
Welcome to our home.
Hunters, may the best family win.
All right, so spoilers on for Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. Where would you like to begin, Brent?
I would say David Cronenberg's character, the Danforth patriarch, dying so early was a surprise for me. The two of them, I thought somehow they were going to he was going to be like, "Stop it, you idiots," or something like that. But no, they just straight up kill him, which is the two Danforth siblings, played by Sean Hannity, Sarah Michelle Gellar. So I was kind of surprised. I was a little bummed to see him die that early, but hey, events are set in motion. And then Kevin Durant getting too early of a start and then exploding in the hospital because LaBelle's like, "Nah, started too soon."
That was so awesome.
That was fun.
And I love that whole sequence because it's great use of Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Even though I would have liked to see him more in the movie, but we got a great performance from him in this and also in Abigail. But the other thing about that I appreciated was the clear just homage to Halloween 2.
Yeah.
Just really cool hospital sequences. So that's fun. Even though the beginning of the movie does suffer, in my eyes, quite a bit from just having, catching us up, having to catch everything up. And, that was a little, they had to do a lot of heavy lifting for the narrative. And I feel like it didn't get off on the right foot there. But once the game actually began and they got all of the exposition, all of the setup done, it flowed pretty well, and it was really enjoyable throughout.
There's that shot right after she passes out, and it takes place right after the first one ends. She passes out on the steps, and they carry her into the ambulance. The way her she looks kind of from the side, I can't imagine they did any actual visual effect here, but she looked a lot like Catherine Newton in that shot, and I don't really know why. I don't think Samara Weaving and Catherine Newton in general look all that similar. I don't think they do anything to make them look more similar in this movie, but for some reason, that one shot in this movie where right after when she's passed out and they're ambulance grabbing her, I was like, that looks a lot like her, to the extent that even if I didn't know where this movie was going, I would have been like, that looks a lot like Catherine Newton. It's really weird. Who knows? It was probably subconscious because I knew she was showing up later in the movie.
Sure.
Who knows? But regardless, I thought that was kind of a funny note. And I think they do a good job with the I think she says she lives in Murray Hill or something, but it's actually Bushwick or something. They both live in New York and 3 years removed, and we find out kind of what would happen with them. And of course, the younger one, who is Grace and Faith too. Those are fun sort of names, and I think they make a joke about that. Irish Catholics.
Irish Catholics, yeah.
See, I wanted stuff like that. Just do something, man. Something like that is about, anyway. But yeah, and of course it ends up that Faith is making up her boyfriend, and she's not
Yeah.
actually a social media manager. And they have a joke about one's a waitress, one's a hostess, and the hierarchy at a restaurant and all that.
Pulling rank over them.
Yeah, so yeah, they do like, it's very, like, that is so not hard for me to buy them as like sisters that are, estranged and kind of picking at each other and all that.
And even then, there's also a little bit of social commentary there that's fun. That, like, I kind of, maybe that'll, if I rewatch it, maybe it'll kind of slake my thirst for that kind of part of the movie. But yeah, the the different factions of families and everything like that, the bickering and the observing of it, it just seemed like there was a lot going on. I don't necessarily want to go through each individual one or whatever, but the addition of, I think it's Nestor Corbanal's daughter being the ex-fiance of Alex from the first movie, and Grace like having no clue that she existed at all.
Yeah.
That was a fun running gag throughout the movie, that even like in their big fight in the ballroom or the reception hall was, I really liked that for the goofiness of it with the pepper spray, but also just like the difference of style between the two of them. Like you ruined my life. Like, I don't even fucking know you.
Yeah. That is fun.
That was a good set piece. I really like
her.
that.
It's starting out with the rocket launcher, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then it does the wrong way. I've probably seen that in the movie before, but I really like that payoff.
Me too.
My thing, I like them being on the dance floor. I like it. Whatever, you have the nice the reception hall is set up for this wedding and everything. I just wish they had gone with a different needle drop than Total Eclipse of the Heart, because I've just seen that before. In fact, in Strangers Pray at Night is actually a movie I don't like, but is used better in that movie. At least I thought. But
I liked it just for the humor of the turnaround thing when neither one of them could fucking see.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
That was good.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's still a banger. I'm not besmirching the song by any means. But yeah, I do think that's a good point. I think. Yeah, so.
But it's one joke to, I don't know if that necessitates like an entire like montage, I guess you would say, of the entire song. Like,
it's a reasonable first dance song, which I know is what they're going for. That's what would have played. So you kind of take it for what it is. But yeah, that was probably one of my favorite fights. That and the one in the washing machine area or whatever, with the like industrial thing, the way they're like working together, like that's kind of what you want out of this this movie. So so yeah, they do a good job there. I did want to mention one line that Sarah Michelle Gellar had when I think they were in the woods or whatever, and she's kind of trying to draw them out, and she says, there are no good guys, there are no bad guys, there's just the system. And I like that, because that is so, this whole, I'm the same as you. Hey, we're just caught up in this. I mean, that is a real thing that real rich and powerful people do. They lull you into this sense of, well, hey, we're just humans after all. No, they are. No, but I mean, certainly in the case of these characters in this film, they certainly not their friends. But so there's like you get little bits and pieces here, but you're right. It's the subtext, I think. It just tends to work better the first time around. How to Make a Killing just came out earlier this year, I think last month or something like that.
I think so.
Another one that different story than this, but it is about rich people, basically rich people getting getting killed. But I thought about that movie a little bit during this one as well. So I think there's a reason these movies are, or that there's a crop of these, that they're getting more popular, have been popular over the past like kind of several years. This one just doesn't have that layer of real bite to it. What it has is like the fun action, like chop them up stuff.
Yeah, and like the first of all, to go back to the wedding thing, I do love that just very just grim, dark humor of them interrupting the ceremony, Sean Hannity and
Yeah.
Sarah Michelle Gellar, and like the vows that are being exchanged are like when we first met in that oncology department or whatever, like just oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like get out and like shoot a gun in the air, whatever he does. Like they all just scramble.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe there is, when you're rewatching that, I'll get more like bits and pieces of like, they don't care about anybody. Which you get in this. I mean, I get that impression overall, but maybe there are more jokes that I, might have missed. Who knows?
Get better appreciation of later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I could see that for myself too. The kind of end run of the movie with the whole question of a loophole about marrying into the family and everything, that was interesting, but I feel like the kind of finale of the movie building toward the ceremony and the question of like, oh, is she going to sacrifice her soul for her sister? Like, I love that on paper, but it's also like it just didn't work for me as well in execution. I think it was fine.
When it got into the loophole stuff, I mean, we're sort of talking around like this is patently a silly premise that these like because they were he was like the original Ladomas family in the first one, like they're like they made their money in board games to start, and then they did go out from there, but like it's so goofy that this machine would generate a card, and if it says hide and seek, like, oh god, that's the worst one. Like it's goofy. So like it's even goofier in this that you would have again this representative of LaBelle, who's this demonic spirit basically, or maybe the devil himself. I don't really know, but either way, who's like, oh well, you did this in the first one, and you weren't supposed to survive, so now all these things happen. I mean, it's even more ridiculous. Elijah Wood's he does a good job. I mean, it's like his representative or devil's advocate, like I said. So
he's just credited as the lawyer,
right? Yeah, doesn't even have a name. Doesn't want to give it away for legal reasons, I'm sure.
Right.
But but yeah, I was thinking that when she had to marry like Sean Hannity, it's like, well, couldn't they marry and then he could just kill her? Like I was like, why did they? And then of course she ends up killing him. I'm just like, there weren't the stakes weren't really there for me in that third act, because it's like, well, obviously they're not going to win, but then it's also like it seems like based on what we see, because we know like he beats the crap out of Catherine Noon's character, like in the hall. That was brutal. It was, I mean, it was. I was kind of almost surprised that they went that far with it, but
Same.
and then hit Sarah Michelle Gellar's character, who's obviously a sister, and it's like, I didn't have a problem with that in terms of the performance. I just thought it didn't make sense consistency wise. Like, well, he would just kill Grace once they get married. I don't know. It's just anyway.
And maybe that was the goal. Maybe that's what he was planning.
And she got the drop on him. Yeah. When they get up there to the altar and everything, I'm just sort of like, okay, well,
it's like,
they're all going to explode somehow, and they explode somehow,
right?
And it's fun, but it's the lightning in a bottle is a great way to put it. Like it's just like you can't really get it twice.
Yeah.
So,
and I did appreciate the rich people fighting over the ring, and like the imagery of that was really fun. That was a good conclusion there. I will say that I feel like this was maybe something that was in Abigail too, but Radio Silence really loves having their like protagonist just like mounting someone and just killing them from like that position. So like in Scream 5, I won't give it away if anyone hasn't seen it, but like the villain is stabbed repeatedly while the protagonist is sitting on top of him, basically. In Ready or Not, she is in that position when she's bludgeoning Andy McDowell's character, and then here she's in that position stabbing Sean Hannity. It's like, I mean, hey, I appreciate it. It's cool. It's just like, it's so interesting to see that repeated in so many radio silence movies.
They like they like the beatdowns. Yeah, I like the shot of it. Felt very like a Renaissance painting of them all jumping into the pit. Reminded me of The Platform, which another film that got a sequel it probably didn't really need, but where they're all just kind of like scrambling on top of this pile of bodies or whatever the hell it is. There's a goat that's going to get sacrificed. And I'm glad the goat survived, so that was nice.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those movies that I feel like, again, like Damning with Faint Praise, it's like it sort of does what I guess I was hoping. I don't know that I even expected that much more. It's just, looking at like radio silence and then like looking at like the actors and everything, like probably could have come up with something better to do, just quite frankly, but I still had fun. It still works, and I think it speaks again to something that they're doing that's, I think, really working in general, and I know definitely working for me. That
same here.
That I can't be mad about. Again, it sounds terrible. I'm not mad about this movie. Oh, great. I'll run out right now and see it, Brent,
Right. And I'm not either. And here's the thing, like, even if it's not like blowing our hair back or anything, like my level of enjoyment with this movie is not going to affect either positively or negatively my eagerness to see whatever they do next, whatever the next radio silence movie is. Yeah. So it's perfectly good. It's par for the course. Didn't do anything too crazy for me, but still had a really good time with it. So yeah. Is that it for a review of Ready or Not 2?
I think so. I'm good.
Okay. Any parting thoughts or anything?
They'll make a third one. Not because I didn't like this movie, but just it's okay.
Just do something else.
Yeah, just do something else. Searchlight.
Make Scream 8.
Make a Testament of Anne Lee 2, or is this thing on too?
Yes.
Is this also on?
Is this thing still on?
Is this thing still on? Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. The New Testament of Anne Lee. Yeah, wonderful. Good.
Yes.
We did it.
All right. Well, that's our review of Ready or Not 2. Here I come. Once again, we both rated it 3 stars on Letterboxd. You can follow me at Obsessive Viewer, and you can follow Brent at Awake in the Dark over on Letterboxd. You can also check the show notes for links to all of this stuff as well. And we're going to go into a probably brief review of Undertone for our secondary review. But before that, I'm going to go into my whole spiel. So before we go to our secondary review, I'm going to take a quick moment to remind you that if you like the show, please take a moment to follow us on social media and subscribe to and rate the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, or whatever your preferred podcast app is. And don't forget to subscribe to the Obsessive Viewer Podcast YouTube channel as well, where I'm posting more and more videos and short form content as well, and sometimes live streams of podcasts. All that's at Obsessive Viewer Podcast YouTube channel. And now back to the show.
Tell me I view obsessively.
Okay, and for the secondary review, I figure we'll probably do a non-spoiler review. There's questions I want to ask you about in spoilers, but I don't want to monopolize too much more of our time. So
you know how to get a hold of me.
Do you want to just do? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So let's do a non-spoiler review. I'll play a clip from the trailer just to bring us into it.
Welcome to the Undertone podcast, where we talk about all things creepy. I'm your in-house skeptic, Evie Babbage, and my believer co-host says he has a real treat for us today.
We're listening to 10 mysterious audio recordings from an anonymous email.
Oh my God. Are you implying there's hidden messages in it?
Let me play it back in reverse.
Play the next one. Let's find out.
All right, so Undertone is currently in theaters, was released on March 13th, 2026. The premise, according to IMDb, is the host of a popular paranormal podcast becomes haunted by terrifying recordings mysteriously sent her way. Writer and director for this movie was Ian Toussaint, and the cast includes Nina Kiri, Adam DeMarco, Michelle Duquette, Kiana Lynn Bastidas, and Jeff Young. So Brent, I want to just get this kicked off with this by saying the thing that I immediately thought, and the thing that I said when I saw like the trailer in the theater was like, I use that microphone to podcast.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's
and
the
like,
undertone. You have the undertone microphone.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Which is also funny because like I went in jokingly thinking like, oh, this is gonna be like a good podcast movie, a movie about podcasters, and I know that microphone. But then the movie like opens, like after the prologue, it opens on a close-up shot of the of the RE20, and I'm like, oh, this is my movie. But I also want to point out, and we can get into our discussion and everything, is that this was on this. I didn't put this together on my own, but I mean, I'm surprised I didn't. But on the IMDb trivia, it points out that like the microphone, the IMDb trivia, to get in the weeds about it, IMDb trivia is wrong because it says it's an Electro Voice RE 320 or 320, but it's an RE20.
Mm-hmm.
But her character's name is Evie.
Oh, right.
And I don't know if that's intentional, but I thought, oh, that's kind of interesting. Electro Voice, Evie. Anyway,
they might have been. They might have sponsored it, man. I don't know. I mean,
maybe.
I'm only kind of kidding about that because the SM70 is everywhere, and they're like,
yeah, absolutely.
They're like, kick up the extra dough. Doesn't she sound so good? And it's like, yeah, it's a great sounding microphone. Yeah,
yeah.
So
I mean, the RE20 even lost the Frasier appeal of it because Frasier went to an SM7B.
That's when you know that's the larger war. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But Carrie Bradshaw, she carried on with the RE20.
There should be a whole, I'm sure there is, a whole blog that's like, or not blog, God, not a blog, heaven knows, a Facebook page or a meme Twitter about, it's like these people, these like characters, like do they use an SM7B or an RE20 and different,
I swear to God, I think I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but I years ago I had wanted, and like I occasionally think about it, like I want to make like a throwaway or a dummy Letterboxd account that is the only thing I comment on is the mic placement, the mic usage. So like if I were to log, like I think it's Halloween Kills or Ends, whichever one has the RE20 that's vertical.
Yeah, I forget which one that is too. I think it's Ends.
I think it's Ends
because it's a guy in a radio station early on. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think I texted you, I think immediather when I was watching that movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think I like did a Photoshop thing where I showed like the correct placement and everything.
Yeah.
But that Letterboxd account, I may have actually I actually made it, but never did anything with it. But it was going to be Mike Check 1-2.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I would follow for sure with a capital F.
Nice.
Yeah. That's
maybe I will, because here's the thing with this movie. We'll get into the nitty gritty of it and everything. And I didn't think it was that good of a movie. I'll go ahead and say that, but the mic usage in this movie, the usage of sound and like the little bits and pieces of like hearing the handling noise when she moves the arm, like like I just did,
right? Like
that's just something I don't see in movies that show that technology that I love and make 75 to 80% of my personality about. So
yeah, this is one that I wasn't planning on writing about and didn't end up writing about, but I wanted to see it in the theater really because of the sound. I mean, I have a 5.1 system at home, but like that's not as good as 27.1.2 or whatever that was going on in theaters. I don't even know. But that was kind of the thing with this movie, is like the sound design, and it did not disappoint. On that level, I liked the sound part of it, like the microphone part of it, as you mentioned, like a lot of the attention to detail and the fact that they're talking on FaceTime, and so like it sounds really clear. She's using basically some kind of like, or at least what we're hearing is basically like isolated headphones, almost probably like active noise, like ANR, ANC, like active noise reduction or cancellation. But it puts you in sort of the headspace or whatever. So that's fun. I think my disappointment with this one was kind of like, well, and the performances are good. Other than that, it was just like the story and the direction was just like, did not work for me. And this ended up being like an interesting pairing of two movies because like, to me anyway, because it's like, if you have like, you're saying, just looking at the headlines, right? Like Ready or Not 2 being like, like a sequel or whatever. And it's like from these like guys who have done this like several times before or whatever, versus like this like young filmmaker, like A24 horror movie, like coming up and kind of like cool sound design and everything. Like on the face of it, it's like, this should be the one that I would prefer. And yet sometimes it's just like, it just didn't play for me. It just didn't work. And it's like, I think it's more ambitious in what it's doing. I can respect like, maybe why people would prefer to see Undertone maybe and like try to support something like this. And I desperately want to be there, but the story was just not good. And it just like the direction is pretty tedious. And I don't want to pile it on because I believe he's a first time director and this is his first feature. And again, with the sound design, like again, the pitch is there, like the elevator pitch of this movie is definitely there and everything. It's just kind of reminded me of Skinamarink a little bit, where it's like you have that germ of an idea that's cool, like really cool, but then there's the other like 80 minutes and it's a really long time. So
it really is. And like, I didn't hate the experience here at all. And like, comparing it to Skinamarink is perfect because I thought of Skinamarink throughout this movie, and I kept thinking like, oh, this is Skinamarink if it was actually like decent. Like,
in the podcast era or whatever.
So like having my whole thing with it was, I appreciate the podcast element of it, but also I chuckled when I looked up the filmmaker because he is attached to make the next Paranormal Activity movie. And that made me chuckle because throughout this entire movie, I was thinking, oh, we're basically watching a podcaster listen to the audio version of a Paranormal Activity movie.
Yeah.
And like, that's a good thing to have for a jumping off point, but it really didn't carry much weight throughout the rest of the movie. And when you do get into the lore that it's trying to establish, the kind of reasoning behind the different things, it felt very like been there, done that in countless other types of movies. Having it tie together the way that it didn't do anything for me and left me kind of confused, which I'll have to message you about because
I agree. I'll just even say like I don't get it either. If that's what you're getting at.
Yeah. Well, damn it.
Spoil that.
Yeah. Because here's the thing, like with the climax of this movie is pretty satisfying as the kind of culmination of all of that sound design coming together.
Right.
And that it's matched with this really impressively well done like oneer. I don't know if it was like masking cuts or anything, or truly like a one shot thing, but it was really like immersive and really kind of terrifying. The problem is like the underlying like story that drove us there, like you said, it did nothing for me. It was just like, okay, I'm intrigued by this, but it's not doing anything to really carry that intrigue further than just like, oh, this is kind of interesting. I've seen this type of thing in countless horror movies, but we'll see what this does. And then what it does with it is just ultimately not really satisfying aside from a visual and audio kind of set piece. So
yeah. I mean, it like if this had like the story of something like we're all going to the World's Fair or something, right? Like that sort of lore or mythology, like,
Mm-hmm.
again, that's just so much richer, just off the top of my head,
Mm-hmm.
like as something that's like about, like sort of like the, tapping into like urban legend or something creepy that you found or something like that.
Yeah.
I preferred this to like Shelby Oaks, which we reviewed, several months ago.
Yeah.
Again, mainly because of the sound design, but I don't think that the actual story in Undertone is really all that much better than something like
Right.
Shelby Oaks, which again, just we talked about it a lot. Like it just feels very carbon copy. So
Yeah.
that's the bummer with this is I feel like it just had a lot more potential, and I would be lying if I said it wasn't effective at the time in terms of the mood, in terms of like, I still felt tense at times, definitely in the theater. But ultimately I definitely left the theater thinking like, oh, that's it. And then also like just disappointed too, because I was like, man, like the sound design is so great and that's such a fun angle of these podcasters finding this thing. Like I just felt like they just went right to the easiest point with it, and it's like, it's more disappointing. So
Oh, absolutely. And the funny thing is, like, so here's the thing with that opening shot of the microphone of the RE20. Like I thought, like, oh, that's so fun. Like I meant to like message you and say something like, oh, this movie is like this is exactly what I need or whatever. But then you get, and this isn't a spoiler, but you get to the point where they're playing the tapes and they hear like a coded message that sounds like Mike kills all, and Mike is the character in the audio tapes. And like I thought for just a minute, I thought, what if this is like a demonic microphone movie? And the microphone is like this talisman that's going to cause like murder and stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
like,
they could have gone
would've
that
been a
way. It
better
would have been a very
movie.
different movie, hopefully a much campier movie, but
oh yeah,
I mean, I could be in for that.
Oh yeah,
I could be talked into that.
It made me think of like one of my favorite like short stories from Stephen King in his Night Shift collection. The Mangler. It's a demonically possessed industrial laundry machine, and it works. It's great. So
yeah, I mean,
but I won't. Yeah, I won't fault this movie for not being that.
Yeah,
but
it would be a different movie.
Something.
But yeah, I mean, just something. It's just to go to the, like you said, basically the Paranormal Activity, like demonic possession, backwards children's songs. Like, I mean, we gotta do better than that, folks. Like, I mean, I'm sorry. And even the recordings are somewhat creepy, I guess. The stuff with her mom is really the stuff that's this sort of more visceral kind of scares that we should get. I think we're gonna get. And so, yeah, even those beats are just familiar. It's just. Yeah, it's a, for a first film, there's definitely stuff in it. I think the main actress, I'm sorry, I forget her name, but I think she...
Nina Kiri.
Yeah, I think she did like a solid job. Interesting contrast to Project Hail Mary. These are both kind of movies where it's kind of almost like a solo project in some cases for certain.
But they
stretches.
both have a buddy.
Yeah, they have a buddy, right? Yeah, exactly. Right. So, that's why it's a movie that I hate to be like, it didn't live up to its potential, because I know that this is like probably was not made for a lot of money, like, and again has promising elements to it. But I just, I gotta speak my truth. Like, Ready or Not 2 was more enjoyable for me than this movie was. So,
absolutely, and like, I'm intrigued. I'm interested to see what Ian Toussaint does going forward. Like, I'm curious what his Paranormal Activity movie will be, what he's going to do after this, because there are elements to this that are really pretty well done.
Parts of this reminded me of It Comes at Night, the Trey Edward Schultz
I never saw that
film, which was kind of him for after Krisha. That was him doing more like I think what people consider like A24 like artsy horror, which this really actually is not. If anyone's concerned, like maybe any of my misgivings with it are that it's like or whatever.
Not A24
yeah,
enough.
it's not. I mean, all of the scares in this, or what it's coming to, like, this is only indie horror in the sense that, like, it's small budget. It's not artsy in terms of like, oh, well, it's all a metaphor for ellipses. Like, no, like it's pretty much like pretty straightforward in what it's telling you. I guess that's where my disappointment is. Not that I need anything, a metaphor for trauma or grief or whatever, but I just want something that's just like, I don't know, a little more creative than like, oh, Black Sheep was the song that was sung in the beginning, and then it's, oh, she sings it later. Or, it's like,
oh yeah,
okay.
And like I said, I appreciate the authenticity of the podcast element of this movie, even though I don't do true crime podcasts or anything like that, but just like I enjoy the authenticity of that as someone who is in that, podcasting sphere.
Right.
But I think that there is a level of authenticity that could have probably not been, like, it distracted a little bit, is the fact that, like, oh, we're going to quickly Google, like, oh, Baba Black Sheep backwards and stuff like that. Like, it slows down, like, the momentum of the story, even though it is authentic to how podcasters work and everything. It's like, we don't need that. Like, they could speak with a little bit more authority, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm nitpicking, but
some movies are just like this, where they have a fun hook, and it's like, what the hook with this movie is, like, they're podcasters, and the sound design is going to be really like in depth, and you get that, and that's great. And you know what? I really hope for some people that'll be enough with this movie. It's just that it wasn't. It's just that it wasn't for me. As much as I'm pot committed to all of the audio elements to it. We're speaking into microphones now, obviously. We have flashing lights and all the computers in front of us and all that. So we are clearly the audience. So
exactly.
It's just a bummer that they didn't either think about the story that would be more creative in this horror space. So we'll see what he does next. I think there's good stuff here. So
Same here. There were also a couple of boneheaded things that I was like, they needed to do another pass on that in the script, but I won't go into that because it's kind of spoilery.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about it off mic, because there were a couple things like I laughed.
Yeah.
I groaned and laughed a little bit. But
yeah.
So on Letterboxd, I ended up rating this 3 stars and a heart, but I think I might drop that down to removing the heart and doing 2.5, just because the story did not come together in any meaningful way for me.
Yeah, I was at 2.5, and I think it's mainly because I would be lying if I said there weren't times. It's like, this movie is like the thing of like, I was in suspense several times, but it's totally that thing of, by the end of it, I was like, well, there wasn't really actually anything there. And I know that sometimes you can kind of emotionally have that sort of like conflict with that. Well, it's like, oh, well, the suspense was the point or whatever. But just by the end of this, I was like, no, the suspense wasn't really ultimately that satisfying.
Right.
So, yeah.
Totally agree. So we're both at 2.5 stars, basically. Any parting thoughts on Undertone?
Yeah, I mean, great to see. I would have been curious to see what the other guy, James, or the guy who's in London, what his setup was. It's okay that we didn't see him. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I was just curious. But
yeah. And here's the thing. Like, I understand, like, the technical aspect of it. Like, I'm of the mind that having each person record their stuff separately is, it's playing with fate. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying, because she has Scarlet 2i2 interface, and they're both locally recording their stuff, and it's like, yeah, you gotta have something you gotta have the redundancies, like the Rodecaster that I have, and have the backup and Riverside and everything. So
yeah, I mean, they did a good job. Like, they were believable. They definitely do a way better job, like, of the podcasting angle of it than like pretty much most other movies or TV shows. So
yes, I would go so far as to say this was probably the best the best and most authentic
depiction of podcasting.
podcasting.
I'd probably, probably
Yeah,
of
that
what
I've
I've
seen.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not anything that affects my rating or enjoyment of any of those movies, except for Tusk. I hated that. Tusk just felt like morning zoo radio instead of podcast. I don't know. Anyway, that's a whole thing.
Another A24 horror movie. One of their earlier ones, actually.
Oh, that was A24. Wow. Dang. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They have a long, proud history of horror, apparently.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think that'll do it for our review of Undertone. Again, we both rated it 2.5 stars. You can find more of our Letterboxd stuff at my username is Obsessive Viewer. Brent's is Awake in the Dark. And also follow Brent's work at awakeinthedark.com. That's about it. Anything you want to promote or where they can find you online before we head out for the evening?
Awake in the Dark, as you just mentioned, awakeinthedark.com. And I'm on Letterboxd, Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, trying to get better about when I post on Threads, putting it on my story on Instagram, because you can actually do that pretty seamlessly now. So nice. I try to shout out when stuff is hitting streaming, like Resurrection just hit the Criterion channel, for instance. So trying to put that on my story when stuff hits streaming. But other than that, just got more. The movies never stop.
No, they don't. They sure don't.
The movies never stop, never stopping.
The movies never stop, never stopping, and the reviews do if the podcaster hosting gets a PS5 and lets that take up his life.
Well,
anyway,
there's that.
But you need a break. So that'll do it for this week's episode of The Obsessive Viewer. Thank you so much, Brent, for joining me for this episode. As always, thank you guys for listening and watching on YouTube if I ever get this posted on YouTube. So I'll go ahead and start playing myself out. Make sure to follow the show on social media and subscribe to the podcast on your preferred podcast app. Also, check out our other shows, Tower Junkies, a Stephen King podcast hosted by Tiny and myself, and Anthology, the Twilight Zone and Classic Sci-Fi podcast hosted by me. Next week on the show, I might do They Will Kill You or Forbidden Fruits or Mike and Nick and Alice, but we'll see. But until then, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Looking at all my eyes can see, they tell me I view obsessively.